Okay, just making sure I'm back after recording has started. I think we're okay, hopefully.
I think so.
Sound check.
Check.
All right. Welcome to Analytics Gladiators.
Oh, yes.
So, we are your Gnome East hosts. Jeff, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes. So, do you are you presenting? I don't see the presentation up. Go ahead and bring it up.
Oh, it's not present. Okay, well, I guess that stopped as well.
Yes, it did. It stopped the presentation. So go ahead and bring that back up. Yeah, it stops everything. So we'll go ahead and bring that back up. There we go.
It did, and I think. Yeah, there we go. We good?
Now we're good.
All right. Tech challenges, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. Okay.
So, we are your Gnome East hosts, and Jeff would like to try this again.
Yes. Starting from the top, yes. So, I am the manager of digital e-commerce analytics. Yes, I'm Jeff Bloomer. Boy, that just threw off our whole rhythm, didn't it? Okay, so let's start from the top. I am Jeff Bloomer. I am the manager of digital e-commerce analytics for Kroger Personal Finance, and I am a member of the Adobe Analytics Champions since 2021. I am a highly active advocate, evangelist, and educator in the Gnome East Adobe Analytics user group, and as a member of the Adobe Community Advisors. So I have sorry, let me start that again. I have been a member 25 years. I've got 25 years experience working with data and 15 plus years of experience working in the digital industry, which includes Adobe Analytics. So I'm very passionate about driving data and documentation standards, report automation, and helping to make learning about all of this just a little bit more fun. So I'm a movie enthusiast and a classically trained musician who currently lives in the Cincinnati area, where I and my family enjoy hiking and outdoors and travel.
All right. And I am Jen Duncan. Yeah, I am Jen Duncan, and I am the optimization manager analytics at Torstar, which is a newspaper and publishing company up in Canada. I've been with the company since 2007, working with analytics from every spectrum, starting as a web developer, moving into QA, and taking over the entire analytics implementation for our company. I'm going to keep mine a little bit short since I'm not that interesting. I am a champ like Jeff and a user group leader as well as an advisor, and you've probably seen me around, and if not, nice to meet you. And sadly, our third, Andy, is running a little late. Hopefully he'll be able to join us a little bit later. Jeff, do you want to maybe introduce Andy a little bit?
So, well, Andy, if some of you already know him, he's actually, we've got some people that joined because they know him from Kroger. He is currently with, Razorfish. So he is actually, I didn't have stuff written up for him, so you will have to apologize, or I will have to apologize. But yes, actually, I'm hoping that he will actually be able to come on in just a little bit and flesh out his own background. So we'll do that in a little while when he's actually able to join. But Andy is also a great guy and also a fellow Adobe champion. So we will get him on here in just a little bit. So if you will go ahead and move on for just a second. So I guess you're all wondering what we just did here. So actually, wanted to just take a second here and talk about today. Today is May 23rd. Just happens to be Red Nose Day. It's a campaign to build a healthy future for all children. And so since 2015, Red Nose Day has raised over 370 million and positively impacted the lives of over 35 million children. Funds raised by Red Nose Day in the U.S. have supported programs in all 50 states and more than 30 countries internationally that ensure children in need are safe, healthy, educated, and empowered. Since 2015, the campaign has raised funds that provide medical care, food, shelter, education, and more to over 31 million children. If you feel that you would like to donate, please use this QR code here, and we will share a link down in the chat as well. Now,
All right.
moving on.
All right. So we're just going to do a little bit of housekeeping about user groups. So we are the North American Eastern Time Zone user group, affectionately referred to as GNOME East, hence our little GNOME icon. And so many of you, since you are here, are probably already members of our chapter. But if you aren't, feel free to sign up so you can hear about future sessions. And while you're there, I always recommend signing up for other chapters as well, even if they're in another time zone, because all user groups have great info to share, and the sessions are generally recorded so that you can watch them at a more convenient time. Yep. Which of course brings us to the most asked question: will this session be recorded? Yes, absolutely. The audio and video portions of this session are being recorded and will be posted shortly after to our YouTube channel. You can also watch other past recordings there, along with recordings from other user groups. Now, feel free to ask questions during the sessions. We love having an engaged and interactive audience.
And without any further ado,
ladies and gentlemen, from the Gladiator Arena in the Adobe Experience platform, here are your Adobe Analytics Gladiators. Today, we span the nation. First up, coming to you straight from the East Coast and one of the oldest states in the Union, Jen the Laser Lasser from New Jersey. Next, we go all the way to the Golden State and the Golden Gate for our final gladiator, Dan the Man McKinley from San Francisco. The GNOME East Adobe Analytics User Group presents Analytics Gladiators. Let the training begin!
Well, that was amazing. I need you to do all the intros anywhere I go. I love that.
We'll just chalk that up to former DJ training, you know. So.
Yeah, I love the Laser Lasser because a lot of people mispronounce my last name as Laser, so it's very fitting.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, it is now up to you, Jen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I am going to get my screen shared here. Let me know how that looks to you all.
Fantastic.
Good. Okay. So thank you so much for that warm welcome. I am here solo today. Dan woke up extremely sick, and I said, please don't pass out on the phone. So I just need you to stay home and stay in bed. So I'm going to roll like gladiators do and handle adversity and present our summit session that we did together solo. And I'm very excited to be here to share with you guys a little bit more about how to conquer product growth with Adobe Product Analytics. And we also have CJA included in this because Product Analytics is built on CJA. We do have a little bit of a Roman gladiator theme because the summit powers that be did not like the copyright infringement of American Gladiators. So thank you, Jeff and Jennifer, for actually delivering what I wanted our gladiator theme to be. So my name is Jen Lasser. As mentioned, I'm a director of product management on the Adobe Analytics team. And I partner with Dan on our design team and my other partner, Eduardo Vargas, on the engineering team to deliver capabilities to product analytics as well as customer journey analytics. And we're not just kind of talking about product analysis. We actually walk the walk. We are a product team who needs to do product analysis. So a couple layers here, a couple hats that we wear while building these products. We're actually using them to measure their effectiveness and find new pockets of growth and opportunity for our business. I really quickly wanted to level set on what is product analytics and what is customer journey analytics. So this is the Adobe Experience Cloud, and the capabilities we're going to be talking about today fit into this data and insights and audiences pillar. Other applications that sit on the Adobe Experience platform include things like Adobe Journey Optimizer and Adobe Real-Time CDP, among others. So today we'll be focusing on Customer Journey Analytics, which is a modern software that belongs in our Adobe Analytics stack that empowers data and insights for mature companies that are looking to evolve their data strategy and take it to that next level. Go, digital for sure, go beyond that to other offline sources, and really bring it all together to take their data practice to the next level. Product Analytics then is an add-on to CJA, and this introduces even more rich capabilities to empower more non-analysts to feel confident working with data, and product teams to be able to get direct answers to the questions they have. So with these combined sets of capabilities in CJA and Product Analytics, you really can take your product analysis needs to that next level. So today I'm going to talk about how to flexibly manage your data for product insights and analysis, how to really measure the full funnel from acquisition to activation to engagement and retention. And I'm going to do this by showing you examples of how we use our tools to analyze our products. So I'm going to show you how the Adobe Analytics team does product analysis. There's going to be kind of 4 parts to this, and I encourage, if you have questions, you can pepper if you want, or at the end of each section, I'll pause and see if there's any questions or kind of clarifying needs that you have of anything that I'm sharing. So we're going to first up talk about how to define product success and manage product data. So it's really easy to get a question maybe from leadership or from other colleagues that you have and just jump right into the analysis. But we think product analysis is best started when you have kind of a measurement framework in mind. What are those business goals that you're driving toward, and how can you connect the work that you and your teams are doing to those business goals? So this is actually a snapshot of our measurement framework. Our business goal, which is a lagging business goal, something that is harder to move over time and has less clear lines of impact from individual teams to this lagging metric, is revenue. I think that might be many companies' top line business goal. But in order for us to connect the things that we're doing and understand if we're having an impact on that, we have leading indicators. So our team looks at time to implement as well as time to insight. And within time to insight is really where Dan and my team focus. How can we help improve user adoption, which should have a positive impact on time to insight, which should eventually move the needle on that lagging goal of revenue. So new user activation rate, monthly active users, retention rate, these are some of the leading indicators that we measure. And we also break that down into key steps within the journey. So this should look familiar to you as users of our products. We really want to get people in, get them creating projects, interacting in those projects by dragging and dropping or adding visualizations, saving those projects, and then ultimately our kind of North Star leading indicator is sharing that project, because that democratizes that insight and reaches deeper into the organization to unlock value. So this is just a snapshot, and a lot of the things I'm going to show today will kind of relate back to this, so you can see now how do they actually use their products to measure these things. So I will give a quick disclaimer. The use cases you see here are real. The data, however, is fictitious. So it's not the accurate picture of things, but it is meant to be an illustration of the real use cases that we address each and every day. So with that measurement framework set, let's get into some of the tips we have for conquering data ingest and management. The ingest could be a whole session. I'm not going to go into that in detail, but that's really about getting the data into the system. And data management is where you then kind of massage that data, flexibly, change it around so that it can answer the business questions that you have. And the beautiful thing about the CJA and product analytics capabilities is that gone are the days of making a million decisions at data collection time. Instead, with some of the things I'll show you, you can make some decisions on persistence and what should be an event and what should be a dimension closer to report time. So let's take a look at how you can do that. So the first thing I want to stop at here is CJA connections. If you haven't used CJA before, you can think of connections as the place that you're putting together a data set to analyze. You bring in event data sets, which are all the rows of data. You can bring in lookup tables, which are metadata that inform those events. And you can also bring in profile tables that inform those events as well, but are tied to the user level. Now, the tip here, if you're using connections today, is to think big. Our business, we actually bring together, the last time I checked, could be more by now, 10 different data tables to create our connection around. We have 5 event data sets, which span our cross channels, which is Adobe Analytics, CJA, our mobile app, and some of the other Experience Cloud applications, as well as our documentation. We join those based on the user ID, so we can see a consistent journey for a person across those. And then we inform that data with lookup and profile data sets that give us some richer insight into the user behaviors that we're measuring. Now, I'm hopping over to CJA data views. So data views are kind of like report suites and virtual report suites in Adobe Analytics today, but so much more powerful. Data views and the whole set of capabilities in here, I think, might be my favorite feature set. And I'm not the product manager for them. I have a whole different area of ownership, but I love what's in here. This is really the main place where you can manage that data closer to report time. I mentioned that earlier. You don't have to have your development teams make all these decisions that are not retroactive and can, irrevocable decisions at collection. You can push some of those closer to report time and have them be more flexible and changeable down the line. So the first tip here that we have for product analysis, what works well for our business is that we collect all the events into a single string field. We call this action name. Other folks call this event type or event name. From here, you can do some pretty cool things with it and manage your events pretty flexibly. So the first way you can do that, in the right rail of data views, from any field, you can look to include or exclude or count based on certain values that exist in that field. So for us, all of our values go into action name, and then we use include exclude here to create new events. So you can see create data views, create guided analysis. All of those events are being created on the fly. They weren't set in by the data collection. You can use this to create what I like to call feature events as well. Kind of looks across multiple values and says, any of these things occur, then increment my event by 1. So if you have a product feature that there's 10 things that could happen in it and any one of those counts as using it, you could create a feature event here. And you could also, in the guided analysis experience, just filter on the fly if you'd like to, from that consistent action name field that's collecting the events. So this is really helpful if you have a business that has like tons of events and you can't possibly always commit them and create them in a data view. That's totally fine. That long tail can always be found with a simple search filter in the guided analysis experience or analysis workspace. Okay, a couple more things for you. Derived fields. So derived fields you can think of as processing rules, but I don't want to sound like a broken record, but better, because derived fields are also retroactive. They're not just go forward based on the changes you're making. So there's a few ways that we use derived fields in our business. but I highly encourage you to check out the derived field documentation. There's a lot of different functions available and even more on the way. So the first one that I wanted to highlight is case when. Case when is like a big if then else statement. So I'm looking in the chat, a lot of my Bluetooth got laser. Hopefully you can all hear me. So the case when, how we use this is to create new events, again, that kind of look across. So if I want to understand the usage of product analytics, that's quite a bit of activity that I need to pull together. So here I've looked at a couple different fields to indicate if my product has been used, and I'm setting one new event with a 0 or a 1 in it to tell me if that product's being used. So a great way, again, to create feature events that can take signals from multiple fields. There's also classify. So there's lookups, which are like classifications in Adobe Analytics. And of course, bring your tables, upload them, match them to event data, no problem. But if you just need a quick lookup, the classify function allows you to classify into, I think, 100 groups or across 100 values on the fly. So we've used this to create some quick roll-ups just to bring our product analysis up a level. And finally, last but not least, this happens to the best of us. Sometimes there's an implementation whoopsie. You can use derived fields and these data view capabilities as kind of a band-aid until your collection is fixed. We obviously encourage you to fix the problem at the root of it, but this allows you to put in a stopgap if there's any implementation issues that you have. So with these, the measurement and the data foundation tips, this hopefully sets up the end users of this data for success. So I'll jump into kind of starting product analysis, the top of the funnel with acquisition. But before I do, just wanted to see if there's any questions on any of those data management tips. Okay. Keep going. So top of funnel, acquisition, and activation. Acquisition measures new users to your product and how they're getting there, and kind of what efforts, whether it be marketing or other efforts, are most or least successful. And activation means turning those new users into engaged users, people that have done that first value event that you're measuring. For our business, these are people that have loaded a project. So I'm going to show you product analytics user growth and maybe something that you all know and love, the CJA attribution panel, to get us started with activation measurement. Activation and acquisition. So the attribution panel, I'm sure you've all used, helps you understand where your marketing spend is working, or most importantly, not working. And marketing channel really is kind of the primary use case, I'd say, for acquisition. One neat thing that you can do here, if you want to measure like which of these is driving new users, use the first time session event in the panel and then break it down by marketing channel to really get an understanding of which of these channels is driving that new user growth for your business. But it doesn't just have to be marketing channels. The cool thing about data views, as I mentioned, is you can handle persistence on the fly. You can take any dimension that you have and change it to first known persistence, which will take that very first value that was collected into it and just persist it on the rest of the data. So this allows you to glean more acquisition insights across any dimension of your choosing. So this example here is if I wanted to know what's the very first product our customers engage with within the Experience Cloud, I can set product source to first known and get that insight. Now, that is all about acquisition, but I want to talk a little bit about activation as well. So within product analytics, the user growth view helps you answer questions like, what's our monthly active users? Or is our user base growing? And breaks all of your users down into new, repeat, return, and dormant users. And you can filter this analysis by different segments if you'd like, and really understand kind of the percentage breakdown of your user base into these 4 categories. The growth is represented by new users, and retention is really represented by repeat users and return users. Dormant presents some opportunities for re-engagement to bring people back to your experience. Any event's pretty broad. I mentioned our product's activation event is load project. So you can, with a simple change of the query, look at this analysis at the load project level as well to really understand your user activation beyond just acquisition. So from the insight at the top, I can quickly see that our active usage is up 17% over the last 11, 12 weeks. So we're doing something right, which is always good to see. I forgot to mention, I have a couple sneaks in here. I also have a couple, I've never demoed them before things because we just released them this week. So I'll make sure to call those out. But this is the first sneak. One of the things that we're working on doing to expand the level of insights you can glean in CJA and really around acquisition is allow you to bring in summary data. The reason I tie this to acquisition pretty closely is you can bring in summarized impressions and spend and maybe clicks if you want something to compare to site visits. But soon you'll be able to bring that data in and sit it right next to the other user level data that you have in CJA today. Okay, I'm going to keep going, but Jennifer, cut me off if there's any questions, or Jeff.
Will do. So, nothing yet so far. I think everyone's just in absolute awe of all the information that you're presenting, that they're just stunned into silence.
Good. Well,
totally.
Hopefully you're not overwhelmed, because this section's the coolest. So maybe we all just take a breath. Let it soak in.
Oh, we just got a question.
Oh.
We spurred them into motion. How will the summary data be imported?
How will the summary data be imported? TBD. This is being worked on right now by our back-end teams. But I imagine in that connection area, you'll be able to add in that data set. How it gets associated to the other event level data and user level data that is in there, I think they're still working through. But know that they are working through those connections.
Cool.
Yeah. So I see one more, Chris K. You can define different levels of dormant users in the data view. Dormant minus 30, dormant minus 60, dormant minus 90. Yeah, that's a great question. I'll go back one slide. So you can adjust you see this is set to weeks. You can adjust that granularity. So you could look at months if you'd like. The look back of dormancy is fixed to the prior column. So if you set this to months, it will look back 1 month prior to see if someone was there or not, and then calculate dormancy. So this view is fixed, but I think there's some creative applications of segmentation that you might be able to get more flexible kind of look back windows for that definition. Good question. Okay, measuring engagement. So finding and acquiring users, got to do it. That's the top of the funnel. But you want to turn those into engaged users and progress them down the funnel to being eventually retained over time. So there's a ton of capabilities here. I didn't even put them all on the slide, but I wanted to highlight a handful of the new things that we've added as part of product analytics, so you can see exactly how those can extend the value you're getting around engagement. So table stakes. Like if I didn't start here, you might be like, where's the trends? Is just understanding how your users engage over time with your key indicators. So on the right or on the left, we can start by selecting some of those key events that I said are business measures, like load, save, and share project. That counted as area, I can look at how many people did those events, not just how many events occurred. And I can also apply segments to dig into user groups that I'm interested in. Over time analysis is always made better by historical trends. So we've made it a one-click option to apply time comparisons to past time periods. And we also offer that anomaly detection or trend lines to kind of pull out insights in those trends as well. Very easy to switch to other chart types if you're a bar person. I know I'm a line person, but some people like bars. You got area charts as well. Just depends on the story you're trying to tell. A lot of really simple settings to take that trends analysis of engagement to that next level. Now, you can also dig deeper into these by applying breakdowns. So for us, we like to break down a lot of our key indicator trends by insights of who the user is. Like what team are they on? Are marketers or product folks using our tools more, for example? We also, outside of our tool, calculate behavioral cohorts. We look at if people are consuming, they're just consumers, or if they are creators. Are they creating new content in our product? So we can break down our trends by those cohorts to glean more insights as well. Now you can take this analysis a step further with frequency analysis. This breaks down all of your key indicators into frequency of use. So you can very quickly find your high and low engagers. I guess I should flip that. The low engagers are at the top, the high engagers are at the bottom. And you can compare that behavior across segments as well. So here we're looking at CJA versus Adobe Analytics users. We offer kind of different views on this to really draw out that insight. And some of the things that our business likes to do is find that high engager group and low engager group, isolate them with a segment and go drill into them further. Kind of what makes them tick? What's making them have that engagement with your product or lack of engagement. The next kind of step in our engagement analysis is over to funnel. So you may be familiar with Fallout and Workspace. Funnel builds on a lot of those same paradigms, but takes them a bit further, allowing you to very quickly compare segments, calculate conversion from the first step or just the prior step, and apply different comparisons as well. So maybe we want to look at the high versus low engagers and see how they're progressing through our value funnel. We can also, from this view and any view in Workspace or Product Analytics, really create a segment, as I mentioned, to kind of drill into further. And I'll take this through to another analysis in a moment to show you what I do with that. But first, I want to show something that we released this week. Couple things in funnel, richer insights that can be copied to wherever you want to share. PowerPoint usually is what I do. We also have added the ability to compare steps. A lot of people call this like having a forked funnel, where one step has options, but you want people to come back to the same place, for example. For our business, our final event of share can happen in a few ways. People can share a project, they can download a PDF, or they can share a link. And I want to know which one of those are people doing the most, which has the best conversion, so I can put more of my product investment behind that. And it looks like for this set of data, people are sharing a link. That is driving the most conversion. So that's a good product opportunity for us to maybe up-level that information and make it more discoverable for other users.
All right, we have a quick question. Is
Yes.
cohort analysis reports available in CJA?
Absolutely, Valerie. I will be highlighting that in the retention section, because cohort analysis helps with retention and churn. So that is one of the tools that will help you measure that. I'm going to focus on the retention analysis in product analytics, as it has a few more configurations for depending on the question you have, but you can apply that to cohort analysis as well. Great question. Okay, so I mentioned in funnel, I created a segment of users that were dropping off before my last value event of sharing a project. I want to know, what are they doing instead? So user streams allows me to dig into that segment and find for one user any of their sessions that had save project and didn't have share project. So I can go and look through this and understand exactly what are they doing? Why aren't they sharing that project? So this can present some opportunities for our product team. We're finding people saving, but they're not sharing. Looks like here, they're just saving and leaving. Here, they're saving and leaving. So there might be an opportunity for our business to interject a little bit and say, hey, you want to share this project before you leave or after you save? So again, lots of different ways to find opportunities for growing the engagement with your product. Okay. I think this is the last one I want to highlight, or maybe I have one more. As product teams and as you implement improvements to your experience, impact analysis helps you measure if you're having an impact on those most important key indicators that you're measuring. So let's say we did implement that share modal that says, hey, do you want to share this after you save? And we want to know if we had an impact on our share project KPI. With impact analysis, we can very quickly see that we did have a looks like a 4%, 5% positive impact on project shares after we made that change. So while this isn't perfect causal analysis, it is at least a positive statement that we didn't negatively impact that user experience. All right, this is the last thing I have to share, but this is also hot off the presses, released end of last week. It's called Feature Matrix Engagement. And this helps product teams make better investment decisions. What you're seeing in the grid here in the middle is your top 10 features that you want to measure, plotted into power features, high impact features, low impact, and core features. X-axis is measuring reach into your user base, and the Y-axis is measuring frequency. So there's lots more you can do with this if you want to explore further, like compare top events and see how those 10 features compare to the top 20 in your business. You can also compare across segments if you'd like. Those high and low engagers, how are they interacting with these features? What are the differences in their behaviors? And finally, you can also compare across time as well to understand if the changes you're making to your product are having a material impact. So that was a lot. I told you all to take a breath before that section because we had a lot packed in there. But even more on the way, something I'm really excited that we're developing right now is inline segmentation to these product views that allow you to create more natural language segments that behave as behavioral cohorts. You'll be able to find a group of people that have taken an action within a time window and measure their engagement over time. And you'll be able to do it from a very simple segment builder within this experience. So with all of those engagement capabilities I covered and more on the way, hopefully you feel empowered to conquer product engagement analysis in our products. All right, time check. Jennifer, Jeff, I think I have like maybe 5 more minutes. Does that sound all right to you?
That sounds great.
Okay, perfect. So Valeria, retention and churn, how do we measure it and what tools do we have in our Adobe products to help you with that? So retention is measuring if someone continues to engage with your product over time, and churn is the opposite of that. People that have stopped engaging with your product over time. And the goal of any organization, I think, is to increase retention, decrease churn. Maybe there's a couple unique industries where that's not the case. Typically, the holy grail for product teams is when you've conquered retention and have found your product market fit. And I'll talk about how to do that with these views. So in CJA and product analytics, there's CJA cohort tables and analysis. There's product analytics retention, and there's also the user growth view we saw earlier. So I'm going to hone in on the retention rates view and show you a few things that you can answer about your product. So the retention view allows you to understand your product market fit. In this example, I'm looking at the return rate of my users over a time period of 1, 3, 7, and 14 days. And I'm looking at that across 3 key products, CJA, Analytics, AJO. This is using unbounded retention. So did they come back on day 3 or later, 7 or later? Hence why you see a pretty smooth curve. And very quickly, I can see here that 80% of my CJA users are retained over time. Out of the box, so we give you those 4 columns that I talked to you about, but you can also change that depending on the return interval that your business adheres to. And really, we see that vary by industry. You know, if you're a travel website, maybe you expect people to return quarterly. If you're e-com, maybe monthly, or if you're a productivity tool, maybe weekly or daily even. So you can adjust that easily with the durations and the granularity settings of this view. As with earlier analyses, you can customize it and not just look at total product, like any event being used. You can get specific around load projects or whatever your feature may be. And I mentioned product market fit earlier. Where does that come in? Whenever you see your curve level off over time, when it's set to your appropriate return interval, that kind of indicates that you've reached product market fit. So here, if we're measuring CJA and we're looking at our monthly retention, and we see that it doesn't really flatten out, that means we still have some opportunity to continue to kind of build a better fit with our user base.
All right, we've got another question. How much of this reporting depends on RT-CDP? We use Telium for our CDP.
Great question. So all of this is built on the data that you put into Adobe Experience Platform. Adobe Experience Platform then has applications on top of it. CJA is one, AJO is another, and RT-CDP is the third. So this is, I don't want to say unrelated, but it is a sibling application next to RT-CDP. They all sit on the same data. So as long as you're sending in your event data to Experience Platform, CJA can pick it up. It's really independent of an RT-CDP license or use. So when you're collecting through Telium, you can send that to Experience Platform and then start leveraging these different applications. Hope that answers the question. Great. Yeah. If you have AEP and CJA, you're good to go to use all of this. Okay. I think I just have maybe 1 or 2 more things. So we talked about retention, and now I want to talk about churn. Churn is the gray part of the bars you see here. And again, sounding like a broken record, you can save that churn segment like you can from any other visualization and go explore, what's making those users drop off further. You can also share, speaking of RT-CDP, you can also share that segment of churned users to Journey Optimizer or RT-CDP for third-party engagement, should you want to re-engage those users and bring them back into your product experience. There's a lot more with retention that we've released. It's too much content, so I just wanted to hit them quickly. You can now compare across up to 3 return events. So instead of just looking at, did they load a project and load it again, you can say, did they do anything? And then did they come back and do any one of these 3 things? And what does the retention look like across? You can also adjust the model to be unbounded or bounded retention. And finally, you can create brackets. This is something I know we've long been asked for in cohort analysis. Happy to report we have it here. You can build a range for those different cohort brackets that you want to look at. Hey, I'll leave you with one last sneak. So today, these product analysis capabilities in Adobe Product Analytics sit kind of separate from Analysis Workspace, but we're planning on changing that. So they'll still be accessible the way they are today, but we're also going to let you bring these into Analysis Workspace. So if that's the place that you're already building and creating dashboards for your organization, these guided analyses will be right there for you to create. Think of them as like 11 new panels that you have to use. And you could also bring over saved analyses as well. I like to think of those as like building blocks to a dashboard. So we're really excited to bring these two worlds together and see how all of you use these capabilities and apply them to your insight sharing strategy in your organizations. All right, we've reached the end of the road. Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully you all are taking away a couple tips, tricks. I know I focused a lot on CJA and product analytics, but really the session was about the principles and the discipline of product analysis. So hopefully there's a few things that'll inspire you on new analysis that you can do back at your desks. I always like to leave behind a few extra things. If you want to keep learning about product analytics, our YouTube channel has tons of stuff on CJA as well. Experience link documentation and video tutorials is the go-to place for anything that you need across our Experience Cloud products. And our Adobe Analytics Release Express page has a snapshot of the last 12 months of things we're releasing. So you can feel up to speed at any moment in time. That's all for me. I really appreciate everyone's time and questions throughout. Happy to answer a few more at the end here and turn it back over to Jennifer and Jeff as well. Let me see what's going on in here. I see a couple that I can respond to quickly. Will the feature matrix be available in Workspace for use with AA data or CJA only? Currently, it is CJA only. We're thinking about lots of different ways to make sure these capabilities get in the hands of everyone, but it is an add-on to CJA at this time. I may have missed earlier, but does product analytics cover the use of individual components? I'm curious. The word component has a lot of different meanings. I'm wondering if that means like a individual feature, individual event.
No, specifically, I mean, you know how some organizations you can get the more access you give, people start creating their own segments and calculated metrics and things like that. And then you lose the one truth of data because everybody has their own individual definitions. So standardizing, becomes a problem. So can you look, for instance, and do an audit and see all of that kind of stuff? What needs to be deleted? What needs to be purged? That nobody's using anymore, things like that. And how granular does it get?
Great question. So what I would recommend, that's really around kind of data governance and component governance. A couple things, and these are available in Adobe Analytics as well as CJA. The first is the data dictionary. If you haven't looked at that yet, immediately after this call, go take a peek. It's docked in the left rail of Workspace. You open that up, and it's meant to be both an educational space for non-analysts to really understand data and read descriptions that admins have provided, but it's also meant to be an admin space to help highlight redundancies and governance opportunities. So the data dictionary is one. And the second thing I'll mention is in all of the list pages, like where we list the managers, all the components, right? Filter list, calculated metric list, even the project list. We've added in a last used column. So you have an idea of if somebody hasn't touched something for 2 years, maybe you can just delete it. And so, we soft delete segments and calc metrics that have been deleted by an admin, which means if they were used in a place, it won't break anything. It'll still be applied there. So yeah, a couple things.
Got it.
Hopefully that's helpful.
I would say there's one follow-up to that, Jen, and it's something that you actually did in one of the labs where we had the ability to, and I'm going to use this term very lightly because it created just a little bit of furor, to be able to manage tags. The ability to handle those, because you can't do that in that tool right now. So tags is one thing that we really would love to be able to manage the same way that we can manage other things. So, so that's one area that we have a little bit of something that we really need to be able to manage. I know that you can do it to an extent, but I think that's one shortfalling that I believe that I would love to be able to manage better.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I can absolutely pass that on to the product manager. And of course, the Experience League Ideas forum is a great place to log ideas as well, but I will be sure to deliver that one.
I camp out there a lot, as I'm sure.
I know Jeff. I know Jeff's on there. Oh, thank you for the screenshot, Ying. That's perfect. All right. Looks like I think we reached the end of the question road, but thank you so much, Jeff and Jennifer, for letting me guest on this awesome user group. I'm in New Jersey, so I'm in this group, basically.
Hey, Andy's here. And we want to thank you, Jen, for taking the time out of your day to come here.
Yes.
We're sad Dan couldn't make it. Please pass on our thanks to him, and we'll try to have you both back either together or individually in the future.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And we hope that Dan feels better. We feel so bad that he wasn't able to make it today.
Yeah, I'll pass that along. He was bummed to not be able to make it, so next time.
Yes.
Definitely.
So we wanted to reserve this last minute, of course, because we promised everyone that if they stuck around to the very end, that we were going to do a drawing, and we did. We have the results of our drawing of our winners. So the 3 people that have won our drawing for the day are Savannah Little. Please forgive me for the pronunciation of the other 2 names. Fanindra Shadella and Reshma Solanki. So those are our 3 winners today. And so afterward, we will contact you. Let's see. Oh, Chase. Yeah, for the winners. There you go. You'll receive an email from Chase with a link to redeem your prize. You'll actually get a choice of what to choose your prize. And forgive my redundancy. Yes, there you go. Now say that again in the Bob Barker voice. Yeah, there you go. Oh, thanks, Jen.
Come on down.
Yes, that's right. I have to warm up, And now you shall be able to win. Go and select your prize. Step on up and yes, and spin the wheel. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, that's awesome. First prize that you won in your life. Well, that's great. Woo! I am so glad to fulfill your dream of winning a prize on here. Yes. All right. Sorry, I usually need a little bit more rehearsal, but anyway. All right. Well, again, we want to thank everybody for coming today. And so we will go ahead and let you leave and go join your day, finish your day, and go on to other meetings and so forth. So thank you very much. We will let you go. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Bye.
It should have made